Attention, bobsled riders! You will soon be embarking on a thrilling podcast down the icy slopes of the Matterhorn. So please remain seated, keeping your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the bobsled at all times. Auf Wiedersehen!
Hello, Yodelers! We are the Matterhorn Yodelers. I'm your host today, Jackie, and we have...
Japheth.
And...
Hi, my name's Peter, and I'm your Disney College Program Recruiter.
Oh, we're back at time with CP.
That's
Yeah.
right.
College program.
Back when they actually had recruiters,
Yeah.
I guess. Now it's all just like, just sign up online.
Yeah, it's so popular now. Yeah, that's right. We are going to be talking about the Disney College Program. We all three did the Disney College Program a long time ago.
I oversold it to my siblings, and so they decided to do it too. No.
I that is true. That's why I signed up, and we kind of had that plan. We were gonna go together,
We were
and then there was that like classic. You got distracted while doing the test.
doing the online test, and I failed, and so I didn't get to go, which was fine. Which I think
It
was
worked
probably.
out.
I think it was better that I didn't go.
Yeah, because I don't know. They probably would have put us as roommates, and it'd be
Probably.
like, no.
Actually, we probably would have been fine.
We probably would have been all right. Yeah.
But,
I mean, you probably would have been like, "You need to do your laundry, Peter. Clothes are everywhere. Do your laundry."
No, you just do that with your other. Yeah, there's some stinky roommates. Yeah, yeah. So we're talking about college program.
Disney College Program, J5th. Why don't you talk about what the Disney College Program is?
Disney College Program are scabs to prevent the union from going on full strike, and
Pretty much.
and they're there to work the night shift because
Yep.
no full timer wants to work till
Nope.
1 a.m.
Nope.
in January when it's like 40 degrees outside and you're freezing and you only have 2 guests come on your ride. Yeah, that's the college program.
Pretty much.
Oh, who's sweeping things up? Oh, college program. Who's dishing your burgers? College program.
Yeah.
Who's at the front desk at the resort at 3 a.m? College program.
Yeah, basically.
You need us. I feel like I'm doing a Fight Club. Like you can't get rid of us.
Well, yeah, so Disney College Program is a internship that you can do. When you apply, you have to be within 12 or 24 months of like school, of taking a class.
Not me.
But you could be any age.
Yeah, you can be.
We had somebody who was
any
like
age.
37, and I was just like, she's so old. And I felt old, and I was 25 when I did mine.
Yeah. Yeah, you could be any age. I think there was someone on my program who was like in her 60s that did it.
I've heard rumors of people who are much older that do it. And they're just
Yeah, 'cause
like,
I remember-
the rent's cheap.
I saw her on the bus, so yeah. But it's a program that you can do. You apply, you interview, and then you get a position. They have housing there for you and transportation to get you to your job.
You have no choice. You have to live where they put you.
Yep.
Well, you can opt to live off campus.
Really?
Yes. Well, at least they did during my program. You could opt to live off campus, but you couldn't go to any of like the housing events or have any of like.
Yeah, that's a little weird.
So at that point, it's just like just go full time or
Why are
part time.
you-
Yeah,
Why are you
exactly.
doing-
Why are you?
You get
there?
the worst shifts.
You might as well just get hired
You're paying
on.
more in rent outside of it. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's not, no.
Yeah.
It's a genius program on Disney's behalf because
Absolutely.
you're pretty much getting labor super cheap because you got to realize, so Disney pays these people to work for them, but what do? They take your rent out of your paycheck. All right, so they've already taken some of your pay
And transportation.
and
money.
transportation, and then they only give you transportation to and from Disney stuff. So where do you spend your excess money that you've made at working? In the
Disney.
parks. So it's pretty much free labor. So you're pretty much, having, I like to call it a working vacation.
It is.
Yeah, it's
That's probably the
absolutely-
best way. That's my best selling point to people who are like on the fence about it. It's a working vacation.
And it's really fun because, you know, you do get the Disney perks of like going to the parks as much as you want. And there's no like extra cost unless you want to like buy food and merchandise and whatnot. But it's nice to have that freedom to just go in for an hour and leave.
Or go in right before your shift start and
Yeah.
go ride a couple rides. And
You
then
do get the luxury of just going to the park so casually where you're like, I'm going to go for a couple hours. And then you just leave. And then it's no big deal.
or do what I did and decide to see how long I could sit in front of Sleeping Beauty's castle. And I don't even remember how long it was, but it was like 6 hours or something.
I always
like
wanted
that.
just to put a bunch of park maps over me and sleep on the bed. Like, I work here. I work here.
I just remember I would like, it was my day off and I was like, oh, what do I want to do? Because I had a strict rule for myself while I was on the Disney College program was I made sure I did like my laundry and what like, you know, house chores or whatnot on days I worked. And then my days off, I made sure I was out of the apartment.
That's a good goal to have while you're in the program.
Because I didn't want to get stuck in the habit of being stuck in my apartment.
Well, you worked early morning too, right?
I worked well. So let's go into what roles we did. I'll go first. So I started off in bell service at Caribbean Beach. I then extended into front desk at Animal Kingdom Lodge.
So you did a total of how many months?
Like 8 months, 9 months. Bell service, I worked, I think, all evening shifts. I worked until like anywhere from like 1 to 3 in the morning, depending on like the time of the season.
So it was a snooze fest.
And that, yeah, it was super boring.
And what months were you there working? Because it does make a difference whether you're working the holidays or not.
So I was working the holidays. So I was fall program, and I extended into spring.
Okay.
So
and for when you
fall-
extended to spring, that's when you did Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, so I was at Caribbean Beach from August until like
January.
January, mid-January, and then I transferred to Animal Kingdom Lodge mid-January to May. Yeah, that sounds about right. And when I worked at Animal Kingdom Lodge, I got stuck on the like 5 a.m. shift, which means
What? Full-time people don't want to start at 5 in the morning? And I'll tell you, as a full-timer, nope.
Yeah, and like I was stuck on the 5 a.m. Shift, which was the buses don't start till 6 in the morning, so I had to do
Like a special vehicle
I had
request.
to do a special vehicle request, which you have to be there at 3 in the morning to get on the thing. So sometimes I'd be stuck in the break room, depending on when they drop me off, because they drop off like a whole bunch
Depending
of people.
on who's in the vehicle and where it's the
And
closest
nothing's
thing to drop off.
colder than being the only one in the break room. It's the creepiest thing. Like,
Yes,
I-
it is.
It was
Never
like
liked
it was like
being the
me
sole person.
and like a maintenance person usually.
I didn't have that in the college program, but I had that at Disney, and I really didn't like being the last one in the break room.
It is weird,
Yeah.
especially working at the Tower of Terror next to the elevator shaft. So you just hear this.
Yeah, the Haunted Mansion made it extra creepy for me, where I did not like that break room.
Yeah. So it was so weird working like the super late shift and then working the morning shift. So when I worked at Animal Kingdom Lodge, my roommate and I were good friends, and she got extended.
This is Emily?
No, this is Courtney.
Courtney.
You met her.
Oh, yeah. Courtney
Yeah.
was super cool.
Yeah, she's chill.
Not Emily.
No, Emily was my friend who was full time.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so Courtney was extended, and she was in parking at downtown Disney, and so she would work till like 3 in the morning, and I would get up around like 3 in the morning, and so like she would come home and I leave, and so we had opposite schedules. And,
Didn't
like,
she go to the tiki room eventually?
Yeah, she did get transferred over to the tiki room.
And she hated it. Did she hate it, or she... I'm trying to think. Was she the one who hated it?
Yeah, I think she was usually stuck at Aladdin, Magic Carpet.
It's like one of the worst.
Yeah.
Sitting there doing the spiel, it's just push and go.
Yeah, I think she missed like the freedom of parking at night.
That's what I hear. I
Disney
hear like
There's a camaraderie there.
with the parking, like you would think that like that would be like a horrible job, but like the people who do it actually like love that.
They love
job.
it, and I know people that have like gotten married from meeting someone in the parking lot. Who'd ever thought like picking up diapers and code V's in the parking lot
Right.
would bring people together.
Directing traffic, like that's your job. And
Yeah.
like surprisingly, like everyone that I've heard that does it, like they love that job.
They come out stronger. They're very good leaders. Like everybody's like, yeah, I came from park, and they would always be good to the workers that they were like leads to.
Yeah. Yeah, so I worked both shifts, early morning and late night. Peter, where did you work?
I worked at the Tower of Terror. At the time, it was the MGM Studios. Back in my day,
What
But,
year did you do the program?
I did it in 2006. So I worked there from August to January of 2007.
You did the short, like
I did
Numbers.
short.
You're
I
like
only did
in
it
and
for-
out.
I thought about extending, but I had other priorities in my life at the time, and I got out, and I have no regrets.
Not
But-
even an E. No,
No.
sorry, it's from a movie.
No. But yeah, I worked at the Tower of Terror, and I loved it. It was great. I mean, I could probably count the amount of times I opened the attraction on two hands.
Yeah, you don't open.
And the times I did,
That's
they
the
were
scariest
good.
thing is opening.
I didn't mind opening because, like, there's a difference between opening and starting. Because if you're doing starting, you have to go through that giant checklist. And I only did that once. Like, I did it during training. So, like, throughout my, like, 2 or 3 weeks of training, I would do that every single day. But then after that, I was always working nights. And occasionally, I would be there at opening, which opening was actually kind of fun because nobody wanted to bring the first family in. That was kind of my favorite thing to do. It's like you go walk out to the front entryway and you just go grab a family before the park opens, take them backstage all the way so that you
So a magical moment.
magical moment so that they get to ride the ride before the park even opens. So that was kind of like I
like doing the magic.
I did.
That was
I
a big
loved-
thing for you. A lot of your stories are about like
Oh yeah.
the guest
Creating those
experience.
That was the
moments.
best part. That was the best part. But in terms of, college program experience, I mean, it was great. At the time, there was ways where I could get around certain restrictions where I wasn't supposed to be in the park. Like back when I was there, the bus for Epcot takes you backstage. I think now it takes you to the front.
No, it's backstage.
It does it?
Well, at least during my
they went front and then they went back to
Did
the
they
back.
go back? Okay. Because I heard they went back to the. I heard they went to the front, and so I was like, oh well,
Because like they dropped you off where you picked up your costumes,
right.
and there's like a locker room and
Yeah.
all that. So you would go through all that before you would go to another bus that would circulate around if you
Right.
were on the other side. Me, I was fortunate I was at Mission Space.
So you just walked right there.
I would just walk, and it was great. Like I remember coming in like 15 minutes to that parking lot, and like I have to clock in. And I remember just like running as hard as I could, and I made it on time without getting.
so like
tardy.
there would be days where I would call out sick, but I wasn't really sick. I just
And you
wanted
can't
to
go to the park. You get
can't
fired.
Right. They'll know if you used your ticket.
Yeah.
But because if I went to Epcot, I could go through the backstage entrance without using my
Because you would just
ticket.
flash your badge at security, and then that was the cool thing about being in. You knew how to maneuver,
Right.
like get in and out of the parks without being known.
I think
Yes.
they're starting to scan the badges
Oh,
now
probably,
backstage because of
probably.
securities and
Yeah, I was. It wouldn't
Back in
surprise
my
me.
day, they didn't care about security.
Right. Yeah. So I did my time in 2010. Like I said, I had gotten out of the military and did a semester at school, and somebody wrote on the board Disney College Program. I was like, oh yeah, Peter just like had great stories, and that seems like a fun thing to do, because I was like, I thought it was like, I told June, I was like, oh, we should do it together,
Yeah.
go back to Disney, and then the family can come visit and all that, and it'll be fun. And you were all for it, and then I ended up going.
And I didn't.
Yeah. Were you like, what were your feelings like when I left? Were you like, finally I get my own room, or?
Well, it was hard for me because I really beat myself up because I didn't get in.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that definitely hurt a lot. It wasn't necessarily like
I know it wasn't
had
anything
any-
jealous, but I was wondering,
No.
like, I never asked you, like, when I left, like, what were your feelings like? Did you wish that you were going with me?
Absolutely. At the
Okay.
time, I wish I was going with you.
Because
and-
you'd just gotten back from Africa,
Right.
like 4 or 5 months prior before I left, and so it was like
Right.
3 months when we were applying and interviewing.
Right. It was like one of those things that like it probably, I don't know. It's hard to live in this like what if
Right.
scenario.
No, but like I just want to know what your emotions were.
I was
like,
upset. I was, I didn't let anybody see that, but I was definitely down for a while. I was not in a happy place because I get back from Africa. I don't know what the heck I'm doing with
you did
my
have a
life.
season
Yeah.
pass at Disneyland at least.
Yes, when I first came
Yeah.
back, so I did go to Disneyland quite a bit. So that helped.
I
a lot.
figured, yeah.
That helped a lot. But yeah, I was not
You're
in a
just
good
in a
place
lost
mentally.
space of like, what should I do with my
Right,
life?
I was going through
Like,
community college. I didn't really have a job. Like, yeah, I was just like in this state of like, I don't know what I'm doing with my life.
And that's kind of why I joined too. I was all like, yeah, I could keep going to school, but
That's
I was
why
like,
I joined.
I was like, I'll just go and do like a semester there, and I was like, so I signed up for it, did the interview, and I thought it was funny. It was like, how do you handle things under pressure? I was like, well, when I was a sergeant in Iraq in the Marine Corps, this, and they're like, well, it sounds like you have plenty experience in handling things. And then the next question is like, how do you feel about doing quick service or custodial?
No.
And Peter told me, he's like, don't say yes, just
Yeah,
say
no.
Just say no.
and he's like, and just say what you want. I was like, oh, I wanted to do hospitality. I wanted to be front desk,
Yeah.
something like different. But I didn't get that because I had never handled money. Like I'd never done a job that counted money, and like I still haven't. I've just never been in that situation. So yeah, so I didn't get that, and they're like, well, we'll put you in attractions. And so I went there, and they don't tell you
No, they don't.
what attraction you're gonna be in.
They tell you like what area you're assigned to, but like they don't tell you what attraction or
Yeah.
what you're going to be doing.
when
It's
we
like,
did it, yeah, we didn't like Japheth and I didn't find out until we got there.
Oh, really?
Our
Yeah,
location.
Oh no, yeah, you get the ambiguous, like you go through what is it? I want to call it customs, but it's not. It's
like housing.
Yeah,
Not traditions.
it was
but-
traditions. It was like the first day of traditions, and like they
But,
give you
yeah.
like their piece of paper and like you're gonna go to Epcot East
really?
on this day, and you'll meet like the group trainer, and they'll tell
Yeah.
you where you're gonna go.
Whoa, that's
yeah,
different
so
for
I
me.
didn't find out my location until the first day I was there. Because I knew I was Bell Service, but I didn't know which resort.
So you're left in this big. It's like cool. I'm at attractions.
But you don't
Okay.
know.
Yeah, I think it was just like Epcot or Epcot
I
East.
just remember
Yeah.
like my first day, like checking in, housing, and like they give you your book and a sticker, and that's where your role is. And I was so excited. I'm like, oh, and they're like, okay, and you're Bell Service at Caribbean Beach. And I'm like, oh, awesome. And I remember the lady, she was like, before she told me my role, she's like, oh, do you have a lot of like
you have to have
leadership?
hospitality
She
leadership.
was like, oh, no, she's like, oh, do you have leadership experience? I go, yeah, I do. And she's like, oh, that makes sense why you have Bell Service. And I was like, oh, okay. It was just interesting to hear that, like, from a recruiter side of, like, things they look at in your resume. And most of the people that were, like, in food service or whatnot usually didn't have any job experience.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like before I went there, I was 25. I did a whole 5
you
years
did
in
a
the Marine
lot.
Corps, and then
Right.
I'd worked 3 years for Macy's, or
Yeah.
2 years at Macy's, and I did construction. Like I had like 10 years under my belt, going into Disney. So, but that was like, yeah, it was interesting how like they broke it down. Like when I first showed up there, like you got your packet and then like you go to this guy and they're like, here's your key. And like, you're just set up with random people and you're like, wow, I
Yeah.
can meet people from around the world. I had 3 people who went to the same community college as me going in.
Really?
Yes, 3 people from Glendale. Yeah. All of us. And it was kind of funny, like,
Did you
how it
have
worked
any
out.
like pretty crazy roommates?
Yeah, the maturity, if like crazy mean like mature, we were all 21. So we were allowed to have alcohol in our room, and that was the thing. Like there's dry rooms,
Yeah.
and those are for those who are under 21, and then there's the ones that are 21. So we had like some guys that had some parties, but it wasn't ridiculous. But it was just the personalities that just clashed,
Yeah.
and
Did you get along with the person that you were room with?
yeah, he was good. He came over with his girlfriend, and like they did merchandise, and then they burned out after like about a month and a half. I don't think they even made it to 2 months. And that's the thing you'll see, the
Yes.
burnout. Like they come here and it's so fun, and then they're like, "Oh, this sucks." Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate my job. The people hate me here, and they leave.
Yeah, you'll see a lot of people leave on
Or
the
they get
college program,
fired.
or they get fired or they leave, and
I'll say this. It's easier to get fired from the college program because of housing than it is from work.
Oh yeah, we had to get
Yeah.
counseled because we had a table that was like, somebody had fixed it before, like somebody put their feet on it and collapsed, and you're like, what the heck happened? And I was all like, I knew, because Peter told me, he's like, you'll get fired if you come like, because I think that you've just like had this drunken rager, and
Yep.
people think that you're just destructive. And they brought all of us into this room to mediate, to tell, like, to corroborate our stories,
Right.
what happened. And it was just like, we just asked for a tool to fix it. Like it's a bad table. It's made out of particle board. And like, they're like, we're going to put you guys on probation over a table that was already broken beforehand. And
Yep.
it was just like, if there are any other incidents, you guys will all be fired. Like it is a
Yes.
grenade effect punishment.
It is.
housing is so strict on the college program. They do cleaning checks.
Yes, they check to make sure you're cleaning your apartment.
Oh, we didn't have that. There were some bad. Oh yes, we did have that.
You have
I
those-
did have those inspections.
You would have cleaning inspections, and you'd be like, all the roommates are up to like 1 a.m. cleaning the apartment.
And there was always one that didn't clean, and
Mm-hmm.
you're just like, we're gonna fail because of that. That like, I hate
Oh,
that
yeah.
person.
I had a roommate. He was hiding firecrackers in my laundry detergent.
Oh my god.
in my laundry detergent.
Oh no.
I yelled at him so hard. Well, like, I didn't know who it was, but I threw him away because I'm like, I don't want this.
Right.
I don't want to get in trouble for this. And then he goes, hey, dude, where are my fireworks? And I'm all like, in the garbage where they belong. Like, I'm not going to get fired. Come on, man. I was going to. No way are you going to take me down from my
Yeah.
dream job right now. Like, oh, yeah.
It's crazy, like the management of that, and nobody does the dishes, and people hardly clean. But one good thing is you could turn the AC as low as you want.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
I've never been in a place where I had the AC down to like 65.
Always so cold.
You lose half your roommates. They move out,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think. I'm
or
trying to
they
think.
they just
I
sleep on.
think I had 2 roommates that left early
I had 2 as well.
out of 6.
I almost had 3. One left because like he didn't go to work. He didn't show up to work. He would play World of Warcraft like
On his computer.
on his computer, and he's just like, yeah, I didn't feel like going to work. And like it was like a week he didn't go to work. And I'm surprised he didn't get let go. As I said, it's easier to get
mean,
fired from
The
housing. than it
college
is from
program is
Disney.
definitely just college in general.
Yeah,
It has that feel of like dorm room.
it's summer camp
Yeah.
for all these coaches. I mean, a men's magazine said it was the hottest internship. Where do you get like thousands of college students where they can just do whatever they want? As long as you go to work, it's just dating. Like that's all you're like. People go to the pool and party, and they go to House of Blues on Thursday night or Pleasure Island back in your day.
Back in my day.
people are just meeting and dating and
Yeah,
hooking up
it's
left
true.
and right. It is,
Oh, it's
and it is,
true.
and like there's always a joke like no one ever goes in the hot tub because it's
Yep.
like the dirtiest thing. Like
Yep, you
you're
do
gonna get
not.
like.
Mm-mm.
I never went into the pools of DCP. Never.
I went into the pool, but I did not go in the hot tub.
Yeah, it's one of those. That was just the one word like never go in the hot tub in Vista Way.
Nope.
I mean the nickname for Vista Way was Vista Lay.
Vista
It was-
Lay.
It's just
Which is the one I stayed at.
Yeah.
That's where I
Same.
stayed.
Yeah, I stayed at Vista Way in Commons.
the most prudish people that went. they brought it. They brought the decency back to Vista.
It
Vista
really,
Way.
like when I heard that I was at Vista Way, I'm like, oh, it's gonna be parties everywhere. It really
No.
wasn't bad at all.
No, you have to find. You have to go out and be social.
Right.
And it's like college. If you hide in your room, you won't find anything. But you
Yep.
have to go out and meet and hang with people, and the camaraderie within your units, your rides, or your
Or
coworkers,
your roommates.
your roommates. You know, it really like solidifies like your kind of experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I had one guy like my one roommate who left. He left because he was like, I work with old people. I have no friends, and my girlfriend hates her job. She's out in the sun selling the fans,
Oh yeah.
and so they left. I do have a funny story because since they were together, they can be in the same apartment, so they are separate apartments. But she would stay over, and the funny thing is, you're sleeping on this like plastic bed that's like
it's
4
bad.
inches.
Yeah.
And Peter did give me the advice like
I
bring
mean-
bedding, and like
Yeah.
I drove from where we live on the West Coast all the way to Florida, which was great. I enjoyed it. I spent a whole week going to different places I never would have gone to. And
But yeah,
so,
that was basically my word of advice. Was all like, you should bring bedding because they give you this plastic mattress, which is horrible.
it's garbage.
Yeah.
I had like 2 feather beds, so I'm like, all I needed was like, what was it, grandma? I felt like grandma's feather bed. you
Yeah.
know?
Oh yeah, John Denver's grandma's feather bed. Yeah.
I was hoping you were gonna bust out in the song, but that.
Nope. 9 feet high, 6 feet high. So set it down each cheek. Yeah.
It was way too fun. It was way too nice. Like what I brought, that was the best advice Peter gave me was like bedding.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It makes the
I
difference.
had to go to Walmart and get like a foam pad and stuff.
Oh, you poor thing. But I came with my truck and I brought things with me,
Right.
and so I was
You
a
were
little bit-
lucky. You were the one that had a vehicle.
I rode the bus.
Peter and I-
once.
We had to
We-
depend on.
We had the bus.
we had to
and
depend on Disney to transport us around.
Oh man, I was in and out. I had a really good experience, and so no one wanted to drive with me because I was a very scary driver back then. I had
You
just got my
were.
truck, and
You
I was
scared
Really
me the
were.
times we came and visited. I was all like, "We're gonna go down this road," and it's like this backwoods road, and I'm all like, "Oh my
Oh, yeah,
gosh!" And you're
I-
like whipping.
I would
back
slide back and forth in my
dirt
little
roads.
truck.
I was like, "Oh my gosh!"
Yeah, I remember one time we were driving and like it's like one of those like one-way roads, like better be careful on this turn. I was like, well, here comes a car. Watch this, and it's like sliding past this one car. I don't drive like that anymore, but it was one of those like it was pretty crazy then. Yeah, having a vehicle was great. But going back to my roommates and the bed, so like they were like in this twin bed, spooning and asleep. And so the first week you're there, you're so tired because you're so stressed about like you don't get your job at the attraction. They'll move you somewhere, and it's usually garbage.
yeah.
Right.
And so you're all stressed. And I think I passed the test and all that. But when you work attractions, you're always all like, move in, fill in all the available space. And so I had a saying like, please move it all the way, fill in all the available space. Please stand side by side, and you just get in people's face, and like you just say it, they won't do it. But if you get right up to them, be like, please, sir, fill in all the available space, and they're like, they do it. It's weird. Like when
Yeah.
you get and you just eye to eye and be like, come on, sir, please fill in all the available space, and then you just keep saying it, and then they'll move. Well, I've been saying it so much that I sat up straight up in my seat or my bed.
You're
And
a sleep talker.
I was sleep talking, and I just sat up, and I just like looked at them, and I was like filling all the available space. Like they were awake, like they woke up. They're both like, what's going on? And I was like filling all the available space because they knew I was in the military and I had served, in Iraq, and they're like, they didn't know what was gonna happen. But this is my PTSD is like cleaning up the line, filling all the available space. I was like, oh, filling all available space, filling side by side, and I smile at them, and then I went back to sleep. I like roll over, and they're like, we couldn't sleep for 2 hours. We didn't know what was gonna happen, and I was like, I had no clue. And like I had started dating someone at that time, and they told her that, and I was so embarrassed. I had no clue about it.
I had a rule with my roommate because there was 3 different bedrooms, so I was with 5 other.
Yeah, you'll have
roommates.
like 3 bedrooms, and then like 2 per bedroom.
2 per bedroom.
Yeah.
And so I had a rule with my roommate, and I go, listen, like I understand, you know, you wanna build relationships, but like no hanky panky when I'm in the room. And like that was the rule I established. I was like,
So you were like, no ninja sex.
yeah,
0.
none of that. And so like, and there was one day like his girlfriend was like there, you know, they're all the cast members are hooking up with each other, and he's all like, she felt like she was too tired to go back because she was staying at a different
Building.
not a different complex.
And if you don't make they have like a curfew.
Oh,
if you don't
there's
make it, you can
curfews.
get fired for not making curfew.
So you
like,
hide.
So you hide in the other
Correct.
apartment.
And so this is what happened. Like she made curfew, and so she slept. Like he was being gentleman, and he slept on the couch, and he let her sleep in his bed. And he's like, "I hope it's okay if she." It's like that's fine as long as nothing was happening. I just don't want to be like laying there while you guys are going at it. Like that's all I want. And he's like, "Oh, okay, I get it now." I'm like, "Yeah, that's."
That's good. Yeah, it sounds like you had some good roommates that respected your space.
I had a really good room. I think I had a really good roommate for me.
Yeah.
He was kind of my level of Disney, in terms of our fandom and how we enjoy Disney and things like that. He was a little bit more awkward than I was.
Is he the one that wanted to be
Yes.
a Power Ranger?
Yes.
I actually ended up working with him
Yes, you
later
did.
on.
Did
So
you?
it's- Yeah, and I had no clue. And like, I don't know if he brought it up that like, it's like, are you Peter's brother?
Yeah.
And I always go like, no, he's my brother. It was like some
But-
weird dominance thing. I'd be like, I was here first.
But yeah, he wanted to be a Power Ranger. He wanted to drive the monorails and
And then he ended up working at the Haunted Mansion.
and then the Jungle Cruise, right?
Yeah. That's where everybody gets, and then you're stuck there.
And you're
It's
stuck
the
in Jungle-
Bermuda Triangle of rides at Adventureland Liberty Square. You're like, I'm trained there, and then you always get pulled, no matter what.
Working resorts are so much better.
Oh, I'm sure. but we get we're the rock stars. People don't go to Disney World, be like, you know where I stayed? Animal Kingdom, and my reservation is she was bomb. They're like,
Yeah.
no, they talk about like,
They talk about the
Yeah.
magical moment.
No,
I mean,
instead they
Peter
come
bumped
up to
into
me.
somebody from Africa
I did.
Yeah.
from during his college program.
yeah.
Yes.
I was in a YouTube video of mine
Yes, you were.
with
You
Kermit
got
the
YouTube
Frog.
famous.
I had
Where's your YouTube video?
I was on a Disney fan webpage.
I had angry.
A guy wanted to paint me. I think he wanted to kill me though. He was all like, you're the best butler ever, and I was all like, thanks. And then he's all like, do you mind coming over to my house and I'll paint you? And I'm all like,
No.
I don't think so. I'm not allowed to wear this costume outside of the park. I was like, I am not going to a strange man's house so he can paint me.
I ruined people's vacations
Oh,
daily.
that's just that's
I did that too.
That's a Monday and a Tuesday. That's every day.
Oh, we did that all the time. Sorry, your 2-year-old daughter can't ride the Tower of Terror. I'm sorry.
Ooh, mine was telling twins, identical twins.
Ooh.
One could ride and one couldn't ride because
That's
she
hard.
was a hair smaller. And the way we did, we had those like
Yep.
tickets, and like if the thing goes right across and doesn't hit them, it doesn't hit the, if their head's supposed to hit the top of the height bar, and if the boarding pass goes all the way through and doesn't hit their head and stop, they can't go on it. And so we're like, oh, let's get the little girl, and oh, you're good to go. You made it, barely. And I was like, oh, she's a twin. She should make it. Well, we still have to check. And this person's just like, look at what you did. She's crying. And I'm all like, we're doing this for her safety. We're not doing this on purpose. I want to speak to your manager. And so you have all these guests in the boarding area, and they're just screaming at us. And you just can't do anything about it.
No.
Like, it's like, I legally cannot let you ride
Yeah.
this ride.
I can't let you in the building.
We weren't supposed to. That's why we had like 3 fail safes.
Right.
And like that was the last one. They're like, but we made the other 2. And it's all like, and I'm the last one that unfortunately had to enforce this rule.
It happens.
And we were the ruin. Oh man, I remember that day. It's like, you ruined our vacation.
Because we couldn't get
And that
sick
one-
on your
that-
ride.
That one hurt because it was like my first one.
Oh.
And then after that, I was like, that was fun. Okay, let's do it again.
I know. You feel bad for the first comment of like, you ruined my vacation. Or
But
you
then it's
ruined my
empowering.
holiday.
Then it's a little empowering. You're all like, I control things.
Then after you hear it a few times, then you just roll your eyes when they say that comment.
Yeah, because it's so, like, it's just utilized so much by the guest that, like you're ruining Disney. And the truth is, no, you just didn't listen to me, and I have to tell you no.
Yeah.
Right.
That's it. But
Yeah, it's just an adult tantrum.
but it sounded like you had a really good experience in working hotels. Like, you were a
No,
hospitality
yeah.
major in college, and so this was like,
I mean,
it's a very prestigious position to get. Like, they were not giving it lightly to
No. So
CPs.
I would say, like, as far as roles of, like, you know, what's the hierarchy? I would say, like, for some reason, entertainment was always number one.
The plastics.
Which is always
Faces
funny
always.
to me because I'm like, you're stuck in a hot costume, but yet everyone
Not
wants
all
that
of 'em.
role.
Not
All
all
of
of
them, but like, you know, it was comical that Disney kind of set that tone that like you want to be in entertainment.
What the divas think that they're the princesses and queens that they are. Yeah, no, I mean they're
The ones that I knew were definite divas. All the costume character or the cast members who were friends with characters, I
Right.
should say. Most of them were very much like, I don't want to associate with you.
the furs were really cool. That's what they call the ones that were not face. There's face and
Gotcha.
furs.
Yeah,
And furs.
they were chill.
Yeah,
Sure.
I mean, I was dating someone who was a. It's weird saying fur. 'Cause people are like you dated a
Furry.
Yeah,
furry,
furry.
and I was all like, yeah, that was always weird trying to explain that to people. It's like she doesn't take the costume home, but I bet you. And I was like, nope,
No,
stop.
It was just a non-face character.
And there's non-face, and all of them I met, and they seem really cool. And there's those who have drama and stuff, but the faces do put themselves on another level because they are face to face talking. They are the character. They are performing. They are the epitome of on stage.
Yeah.
And so they do put themselves up there, and yeah, it's interesting, that hierarchy.
Yeah,
so you're
so
saying like entertainment's
There's
up there.
entertainment, and then
They make the most.
yeah,
Face
they
does.
do. And then I would say like Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique is high up
Really?
as a popular role.
I guess if you're in like cosmetology
Hairdressing
and
things
stuff like
that.
that.
Yeah.
Sure.
That one, and then
Or a
and
barber.
then,
Ooh, I never met a barber.
oh,
I know like the Pirates Lair. I was doing
Oh,
training
yeah.
at Aladdin in the Tiki Room, and there was a guy who was trying to do the tutorial, but he kept talking about like he did drag queen like outside of Disney, and so he kept talking to us like it's so hard to find an extra wide size 13 pump, and I was just like, only at Disney.
Yep.
Only at Disney you will find someone talking about size 13
Yep.
extra wide pumps.
Yep.
but like being in hospitality in the hotels, like either front desk, concierge, bell service was like a role no one really knew about. But like that was like when you heard that, people are like, oh, like you're in that kind of role, because they were harder to get because only those who really had like hospitality experience
Managing money.
got those roles, because the training is just in like was it Company D?
Yeah.
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 Company D, like it's 2 weeks for front desk.
Oh, the University D.
Yeah,
Oh,
University D. It's like 2 weeks for front desk, 3 weeks for concierge,
It's almost as like
It's-
it's like being a waiter
it's
and
the
waitress like that
longest-
one.
It's the longest like training to do. And then that doesn't even include like your on the job training. So it's a lot more training to do, but it's a lot fun and chill depending on the resort you're at. So Bell Service, for me, I was at a moderate resort, but it was fine at night and stuff. It was pretty chill, but like it would get really like crazy busy, super backed up. Like lately, like with the holiday, you've seen like luggage backed up in the airports and stuff this past Christmas season with Southwest. It was almost like that when you would get all of the sport groups because we were right by ESPN. And so we'd be super backed up in luggage. And that's when things got like stressful and crazy. And
The rush.
guests are mean to you because you've got their luggage.
You get their luggage and they've been on a plane, and like you're the first people they meet.
Yeah. So
What do you mean you don't have my luggage?
I need my brush.
yeah. Oh my gosh. I had
Cheer
this-
moms.
Oh, the cheer moms. They are the worst moms. To deal with as a cast member because I have this.
I have my own groups, but if I start naming them, it won't be good for this podcast.
No.
we are very prejudiced as cast members. We stereotype
Very
Yeah.
much.
like ethnicities, groups of people, religion because of there's just common traits
Night of Joy.
that come
Oh,
out.
Night of Joy.
Night of Thieves.
Yeah.
Welcome to the 40 Thieves.
Oh, they had to remove it from the Disney parks
Yeah.
because it was so bad. But yeah. So Bell Service was like pretty. Could get pretty crazy. But front desk at a deluxe resort was so boring. Oh my gosh, it was so boring because
You don't have that drama.
you don't have a lot of drama. And honestly, it's a really easy role.
So do you like if you could do the front desk again, would you want to go to a place that's more challenging to have that rush?
I would not do the front desk again.
Never.
No.
Did that role kill your prospects of working in hotels?
It killed that I wanted to work like front house, like front office.
Mm-hmm.
Of just like it was just boring, and I was just like dealing with. I was basically babysitting adults. It felt like in a luxury setting, and I hated it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that was kind of my outcome from it, and probably one of the reasons why I left Disney.
Yeah, because that was one of our questions. Like, are you going to stay? Because I had stayed, and
Yeah.
I worked an additional like 2.5 years there.
Well, part of the reason why I didn't stay was one, I was broke. I was so broke.
What? Disney didn't pay you a lot of money?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
And then like what it is like when you leave the college program, you have to apply for part-time. Like you
Yeah.
can go seasonal if they think you're good enough. Like
Right.
you didn't have enough like write-ups, they'll make you go seasonal.
Right.
Yeah.
And then from there you apply for part-time.
Yeah.
And then, if you get in, then you can start working, and then it took me 6 months being seasonal. Let's see. No, I got hired 3 months part-time from when I left the college program. And that's when I knew and they put a list, like when you apply, like where would you like to work? So they did give you the option. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I want to work at Mission Space. I'm already familiar with that. My family's there. I mean, I worked with like 40 people there.
Right.
So, I mean, that's
Yeah.
a huge attraction and with a lot of people. And it's just like, oh, yeah, I want to stay with my group, my peeps. And then I was like, well, I guess I'll do Magic Kingdom Adventureland. So apparently Mission Space did not want me. And I don't think the management liked me because...
And that's another thing. Like, if you're trying to stay on full time or thing, your management, if you're working at the college program, will fight for you to come back to that location if they like you.
Or they will squash your
Yep.
dreams. But good thing is, like Peter said, most management disappears at night.
They do.
Mm-hmm.
And when I worked nights as a full-time person, like I was basically in charge. I was like, look at me. Look at me. I'm in charge. You see this Mickey on my name badge?
The 1 year.
The 1 year, it's all like,
Mickey.
it shows you I'm in charge. I would put it on my college program badge. So people would be like really confused. They're like, how long have you been in the college program? Too long. The things I've seen.
And that's another thing with the college program. When you're on the college program, you cannot work for Disney more than a year.
Yeah, they will kick you off.
Yeah.
You can't stay CP forever.
And it stinks like as a CP, like so if you're a CP and you transition to like part-time or full-time, you start day zero. So you don't get your 1 year pin, like
Oh, you get
including the
nothing.
DCP.
So
Like
you can when you're part time it rolls over to
full-time.
Full time.
But-
Seasonal I don't think they get that seniority
Oh,
thing
I don't know.
either.
But DCP, like your seniority does not count.
No, not at all. Because I did 7 months. I started in May and I finished mine after the holiday thing. And like, talk about the holidays. They will use you.
Oh, yeah.
They
Oh,
will
yeah.
grind
That's
you
when you
to a
will
pulp.
work like 13, 14 days in a row.
Yeah, I
You work a lot. And the thing is, you're blocked out from entering the parks.
So you can't party
And
And-
it's
and,
not
like,
like
New
you
Year's-
want to go to the park anyways because it's so busy.
I don't know. Those New Year's parties they're bomb. Like I was at Epcot and they're like, we've got 100,000 people here, and it's like I've never seen
Huge
lines.
party.
It's huge. It's just chaos.
Epcot's the place to be for New Year's.
Yeah.
That's not a debate. Like that is, if you're gonna go to a Disney park for New Year's Eve, Epcot's the park to go
It's
to.
big and there's rides there. There's food and it's just it's a
music,
celebration.
like it is a party.
Yeah.
Every country has like a little mini party going on.
and the cast members are there. They're having fun with it because they're like, well, I'm working. I might as well do it. I worked the New Year's at Magic Kingdom and it was like there was nobody around because everyone's there to watch the fireworks.
Right.
And I remember just like looking over to, I think her name was Ashley or something like that. She was from Australia. And I was like, Happy New Year's. She's like, Happy New Year's. Like, it was the most depressing.
Oh, it
like,
is.
I remember I was in the best position New Year's Eve at midnight. I was in walker position. So walker is the position that takes people from load to unload who don't want to ride. The chicken elevator, the chicken exit. Well, at this time, midnight, there's hardly anybody riding. So next to the loading platform is a door that literally goes right outside just to be on the outside of the building. And I literally watched fireworks from the three different
Oh,
parks.
That's so cool.
So I saw, the MGM Studios fireworks going off
You
at
see
midnight.
Epcot.
I saw Epcot, and then in the distance you see Magic Kingdoms, and it's all like, oh, I got to see all three at the same time.
That's cool.
I would just hear Epcot because Caribbean Beach is right next to Epcot, like behind the World Showcase, basically. And I would just hear the fireworks. I remember working New Year's Eve, and it's so loud
It just goes off.
because it just goes crazy off, and no one is at where we're at because at that time the check-in area was away from the rooms because you had to take like a bus to the check-in to the rooms. They changed it now. It's now all centralized, but like at night, like no one's at the front desk area because no one needs to go there at night.
No, it's so crazy. And when working in it, it was, I mean, we were waiting at like 3 hour waits, and then
Yeah.
towards the end, it was like an hour wait trying to get people in, and like the queue is just nuts. And
Well,
like I worked that day, and I worked like 16 hours, and then I had a turnaround of like 4 hours, so I got double time
Oh.
on New Year's
And
Day, and I
Disney
worked.
hates
They
doing
hate it,
that.
but they had to do it, and I worked 12 hours. And I think it's like once you hit 18 hours, it's all double time.
right.
So I was making a whopping $12 an hour.
And you were excited about
Oh
it.
man, I was all like, I'm swimming in the dough, and like
Yeah.
I never worked that much except for one time when I worked 80 hours 1 week. I took every shift I could get, and like, was it 80 hours or was it 2 weeks? I can't remember. No, it was 1 week. I did 80 hours, and I was like, it was like March, right before I left, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna make so much money. It was like $500, and I was all like, this is garbage. These guys are thieves.
Yeah.
And I knew I was already leaving, but I was like, I just killed myself. I was
Yeah.
like, I was there to open shift, and I was like staying a little hour break, and then that way I didn't get the double shift.
Right.
And like it was nuts. Like, wow, you work yourself and you only make $500.
Yeah.
Oh, it was
It's not much.
No.
You don't do it for the money.
And that was one of the reasons why I didn't want to stay, because I was like, I'm broke now. If I stay, I'm going to have to get an apartment, get a car,
Yep.
get all the stuff for the apartment. And then I look at all the cast members like that are in leaderships, what I would try to be. And I look at what their pay is, and I'm like, I can get something so much better at home.
Yeah, it's the trap. It's not your. I was fortunate where I had some money saved up prior to where I can get an apartment and do it. And I had fallen in love during my college program. It was the most
DCP love.
it was DCP love, and we were there and we met like 2 weeks in, and so we spent the 6 months together, and we're like, all right, let's move in together, and we did, because we both were like, I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I was all like, no, I'm in love, and so I stuck it out, and we got an apartment by Universal Studios. It was fun living near there. There was like gunfire, and then you're like, they found a body in the lake by the Walmart. And like, I always like whatever I was buying. I remember I had sprinkles in my hand at that Walmart, and I always had my hand checked. Like, I don't know what it was. They just did not like me or something. But yeah, it's interesting trying to transition from college program to full time. It's possible. It does take money to save up. You need a car there.
Yeah.
You'll have multiple roommates. Like, it's not unheard of. People have like 5 roommates.
Yeah.
Like you thought it was crowded during the college program. It's
No,
just
it's-
crowded on the
yeah.
outside. And usually people burn out after 5 years. Like that's the rules. Like if they make it to 5 years, they're there for life. But the truth is, a lot of people just don't. And they'll get, like, people are really ambitious and they'll get in leadership and they'll get those leads. And then they'll just be like, and they'll get to that money thing. It's like, do I really want to do this? Or like 23, 24 years old, and they're like, do I really want to do this
Make it
for the
12
rest of
bucks
my
an
life?
hour.
And you meet the full timers that have been there for like 25 years.
Oh, yeah.
They're the most jaded people.
They
If they
totally
could smoke on
are.
stage, they would be like, kid, when I was here, the keelboats had machine guns. We were fighting the Viet Cong. Yes, we were. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
It's so true, and they're like, I've done every role that you can in the parks.
You know
Or-
that ginger snap? You know that ginger snap line? I invented it. It's just like, whoa.
I
Like,
just remember, like, I got to Animal Kingdom Lodge, and I'm on the job training, and, like, I was training in the morning, and all the older senior individuals going, what's your seniority? What's
that
your
is always everyone's. And even if you share the seniority day, it's like, I don't know what it was, but I had like, I had the same start date as like 5 other people. And we all started the college program at the same time, but somehow my number was before them, and they would be like, "What days you taking? What days you taking?" And I'm
Yeah,
all
so
like,
seniority is based off of how many years you worked for the company. Doesn't matter what position, just how many years you've worked, and that determines the line order
for scheduling.
for picking your shift.
Yep, picking your shift and which ride you want to ride.
Yeah.
And so the longer you're there, the better ride and date you get. And so, yeah, I never had any issues. I remember my last one. I was like, I'm done working at the mansion, and I want to work at Tower. At Tower. I'm working at Tower. No, I'm working at Tiki Room and stuff like that because it was way chill, and you didn't get the mean, nasty guest as much. People aren't so mean at the treehouse.
What would you guys say would be your favorite secret benefit? Something that maybe like a lot of people may not know is like a benefit that being in the college program provides. Was there any special thing that like you did because you were a college program?
I'll say there's soft skills. Like if you're not used to customer service, you will you go through a baptism of fire with it.
Yeah,
Yep.
you'll learn.
You learn really quick,
Yeah.
and you learn to assert yourself. You learn to say no, and that's something that a lot of our generation didn't know how to do. and it's something that the future generation isn't really
Equipped
learning.
to do.
Yeah, it's equipped to. And so if you really like, I even worked at Macy's and stuff like that, and but working at Disney taught me things that even the Marine Corps didn't teach me. It's like how to be nice to people was the first one. How to be
What?
nice
The
and not
Marine
to
Corps?
say and not
The
to
Marine
tell
Corps?
you what's really on my mind.
Yeah.
The Marine
Um,
Corps isn't all about nice. And
No,
like,
no.
Hey, I brought everyone cookies.
No, it's true. Like working for Disney gives you a set of skills that you won't learn anywhere else, really.
You become confident and communicating with people. You learn to like, this is how I need to be direct and concise to get them what their information they need. And, yeah, that really puts you in a position, and you're dealing with people's lives too, their safety. And
Right.
so it does give you a responsibility that a lot of jobs do not get you.
Right. I can honestly say, growing up, I'm an introvert. I can tell you right now, I'm an introverted person, but I learned how to be an extrovert there. So I know how to turn it on if I need to be an
Yeah.
extrovert, being an introvert. So
Same.
that was definitely a benefit that I personally gained while being in the college program.
Yeah. I think
I think a benefit is you get to meet celebrities sometimes.
Yep.
Too.
yeah, it's fun to like see some celebrities. I saw a few when I worked at the resorts because I was at a deluxe, and
Sure.
Animal Kingdom Lodge is definitely a big
It's
one.
nice. It's really nice.
Yeah, it's super nice, and it's a big one that celebrities stay out, and so it's always
It's also quiet. It's away from everything, and that's where celebrities really want.
yeah. Let me see. Come back to me.
Did you guys ever use the library?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love the
Yeah, I rent
library.
movies from the
I
library.
used the computers. I didn't discover it till after.
Oh, really?
Like, I didn't know where it was in Epcot, but I knew where it was in Magic Kingdom. And because you can get on the computers there, and they
Mhm.
have their own little library. You can check out movies and
Books
DVDs.
and things like that. Like, it was like cool. Like, there were some things I was like, oh man, like they have like old TV specials that I was like, oh, so like if it's I like whenever I was getting a little burnt out from going to the theme parks, I'd go grab a little mini documentary from Bob Gurr,
yeah.
which we just talked about on our Windows episode. Go back and listen to that.
I liked going to the employee discounted store
Yeah.
because
Oh,
they would
yeah.
have discounted like groceries there, and they would also have like discounted stuff like in the hotels that was like furniture that was in the hotels or costumes or
I remember hearing stories about, you remember during 2020, the NBA bubble,
Yeah.
they had to order custom beds for the NBA players because they're so big.
So they had all those beds.
So they had all those beds that they were selling,
Yeah.
like super cheap.
It's great, but then you're like, where do I find these sheets?
Right.
yeah. So I remember going there a lot.
You had the nice one. Like, there was that nice store because you took us there. It was because
Yeah.
when I was there, it was behind Magic Kingdom.
No, this one
the
was
parking
over
lot.
by Animal Kingdom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I only went to the
Or
one
it
by
was a Coronado
Magic
or
Kingdom.
something.
I loved how they sold like giant bags of rice. You're like, expires in a week. And we're like, I can't eat that much rice. Imagine taking that big old bag of rice. I mean, this is like not 100-pound bag. This is like a 200-pound bag
No, I
of
would
rice.
survive off of those frozen chicken nuggets.
Oh gosh, they're like, we have this loaf of bread you have to eat within a week, but we sell them in groups of 12. And you're like, you gotta think proportion size. We're normal people. Like, we're not feeding an army of like tourists here.
But there was always some like good merchandise finds that you find there.
Little things that have been broken or scratched, and you get a good discount. And the discount while you're in the college program, you still get the benefits as the cast members do, where you get like the seasonal discount where you
Yes.
get
Oh,
50
yeah.
and 40. When I first there, it was 50%. Then I think they knocked it
And
down.
that's like the best thing about working the fall college program is you get the good
Holiday.
discounts where you get tickets for like discount off of like dining restaurants
merchandise and things like that.
merchandise and
So this is a pro tip for anyone that's considering college program, wait to buy your merchandise and stuff like that until that time.
Oh, for
Unless
sure.
you want to wear it in the park. Like if it's a
Right.
long like you like ears.
Or if it's
and you
like-
pick up ears.
Or
like,
if it's like an exclusive or seasonal item,
Yeah.
sure, pick it up. But like if it can wait until the holiday season,
Yeah.
wait until the holiday
Oh
season.
yeah, because you guys, mom and dad. No, you did. You and mom visited during Christmas, and you guys like we were buying all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, the discounts are great. One of the favorite things I did, like, there was a group of us from Caribbean Beach that we all like would go to different restaurants and we would all like share our dining coupons
Yes.
on one
Yeah.
bill so that way we could try different restaurants. And
Because
then
it's so expensive, and you can barely
is.
like afford anything.
it's so expensive, and so it was able to like try these really fun, good restaurants, and it's like one of my favorite things at Disney World is just the food at the resorts.
Yeah, yeah, that's a really good tip, and the benefit for it. And I think the biggest thing is just the friends that you make, the closeness. You're bored, and so you just talk to each other,
Yep.
and you guys are in it, and the camaraderie it's there. You see each other every night, pretty
yeah,
much.
you get pretty tight with like your like fellow cast members, especially the night crew.
Yeah. You feel, yeah, I liked my college program with the group of people, and I was fortunate where I worked with, there was always like 20 people. That was the skeleton crew. It was like 20 people. And you're like, who's in my bay? Oh, no, they're there. Oh, they were dating that guy, and I want to hear about that. Like you hear like the drama and stuff like that. And, but that was fun. Mission Space is a special place in my heart, and I really, really love the people I worked with. And
Yeah.
I was heartbroken that I didn't get selected to work there. Continuing on, since I already had proficiencies, I could pick up shifts there, and I did once in a while. But then there was a point where I moved on. You know, and it was, started a new family, and eventually on Liberty Square.
It was hard to transition out of the like working for Disney and the Disney college program because like you did like it was hard. Don't get me wrong, the college program was hard at
They
times.
work you, but you have fun
But
too.
you have those fun moments and you find the joy in those hard
Yes.
moments, and like you just create those like long lasting memories, that just will, and skill sets that will be with you forever. And like having Disney on your college resume is so great.
You have an in to any customer service job.
Yeah.
Yep.
Every time, like he was like, "Oh, do you have customer service skills?" Like even in government jobs, it's like, "Oh, you worked at Disney." I was like, "Oh yeah," and they're like, "Oh, you're perfect." Like,
Yeah.
they don't doubt
No.
that you are not prepared for any situation.
Yeah.
Like, and it's true. So what was the biggest thing that you took from? What was hard leaving your college program? Because you're the, I'd have to
You
say
were
you were
quick.
the super fan
Yeah.
of
I
the
am.
family. You
I-
got us
I
all
am.
hooked.
What was hard for me leaving was, so the first time in my life, I was the popular kid.
You were this was your
This was like
Your domain.
my domain. Like I had so many friends, like to the point where like I had influence over my friends, which I didn't know I had until like the last party we kind of did together, where like they're like,
it's probably for the best. You would probably go all evil. You
I know,
know?
would have gotten lust with power, Yeah, no, like, like we were having a, goodbye party for the people leaving, and somebody's like, I got the beers. And I'm like, well, you don't get to hang out with me. And then everyone at the party's like, yeah, get that stuff out of here. And I was like, what just happened? So like, yeah, and I made some good friends along the way, and this was at the time where Facebook didn't exist. It was MySpace still.
Yeah.
And so-
HTML, CSS. You, my
And so
friend.
for a long time, I was disconnected from all my Florida friends until recently. One of the Brazilians that I worked with found me on
yeah?
Facebook, and then all of a sudden they all just
Oh.
found me. So every once in
The
a while,
Brazilian college program people
Are the best.
the best.
Yes,
They are the best people.
They're the friendliest and the nicest. Like everybody from South America,
that
I had a
and New
great time.
Zealand.
The Kiwis.
Yeah.
I like the Oz. Yeah, I agree.
They were just, yeah, I just had such a great friendship with all of them. Like, again, I was still an introvert, but again, I knew how to turn on an extroverted personality when I needed to. And so, like,
It was good growing for you.
it was
like
Yeah.
the soft
It was-
skills. I
it
always
was
tell people
great
are like,
for me.
if you're struggling, like to find who you are, what you're doing,
it's a good place.
it's a great place to get thrown in the mix and have fun. And,
Get you-
and
get
it
you out
allows
of
you
your
to
element.
leave. It allows you to leave too.
Yes.
You don't like it? Then just leave.
Yeah. I mean, I have roommates that are like, I'm leaving early because I'm working quick service and I can just go home and work McDonald's. And I totally respect that. It's like, I get it.
Yeah, and the magic does leave for a lot of people. And that's why I always say, like, stay where the magic's at.
Yeah.
That's why you're there.
Yep. I would just say this, like there are some things as doing the college program or even working for Disney, you will see some things that might break the magic for you. So, especially behind the scenes stuff, I remember seeing an end of a parade backstage, and I was all like,
How they just
"Whoa."
throw everything off.
You
yeah.
see Miss Piggy take her head off, and it's a dude, and then Kermit the Frog take their head off, and it's a lady, and you're like, okay, that's weird, or
Yeah.
Dopey. It's just like, okay, this is weird.
It's true. And when I got to the end of my program, I could have extended for like 2 more months if I really wanted to. But I got to the moment it's like, I'd rather be a tourist or a guest instead of working for the Disney park.
And people always ask, like, when you work there, does it ruin the magic? And it's
Yes
like,
and no.
exactly. That's the answer I have, too. It's all like, yes, it does. But then you know what it takes to make it magical, and you hold on to that as you go through the
I think it's
parks.
something that like yes, it ruins the magic as a cast member,
But you appreciate it.
but you appreciate it, and then when you come back later as a guest, you know how to.
You know how to interact with the guest or the
Yeah,
cast
the cast
members, and
members.
like how to cue, like, okay, this is down, this is up. You can maneuver that park so easily.
Right.
Yeah, you learn when working for Disney, you learn how to Disney.
Yes.
You learn how to interact with the cast members to be on their good side. You learn what times to hit what rides and what's worth waiting for and what's not worth waiting for.
I'll never forget like where I was just riding Rock and Roller Coaster like nonstop. I rode it like 6 times in a row, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh, it's a 15-minute wait. Pass.
You do become snobbish about your times because you know what's good and what's bad, and then you're just like, nah, I'm done. I'm over this.
Right.
Right. And like, so coming back to the park as a guest, like, you still have that like cast member attitude of like, oh, it's not worth it, or like, I don't know, it never leaves you.
Doesn't I don't know. When I went back to Disney World with you, you had
Yeah.
the trip planned out so much where I really didn't. I just kind of went with the flow, and it went really well. But I haven't been back to Disney World since, so I don't know what it's like to
It's different.
to be
It's not the
maneuvering.
same.
Yeah, they were bringing in the bands when you were there, and I was just like, well, that's different. And
It's
I'm kind of
different.
resistant towards. Just like I kind of liked where I just like you get your fast pass and you go in because that's my
Yeah.
childhood, and then you're like, when you're supposed to be somewhere, and even at the app, that's fairly easy to do. But now it's just they keep compounding it, and it's like I
Yeah.
don't know if I want to. I feel like I've lost that like knowledge with the being a
It's
cast
true.
member,
It's
but like
true.
as you said, the cast members don't even know either because they're just out of that system. They're not paying for the app.
They're
all
not
the
paying
time.
for the app for sure.
And so they're
And you're losing that disconnect.
where they can't
It
help the
should be
guests.
free for the cast members.
I that's what the whole point of getting us in the park was, that we knew where everything was.
Yeah.
And even when you weren't working and you heard someone in trouble, you would
You would help.
help them. And like the picture taking,
Oh,
I
it
still
changed.
do it.
Same
Yes.
here.
I see someone like, oh, doing family photos, like, hey, can I take a photo? It didn't really work in Europe because they think you're like gonna steal their
Oh,
phone and
yeah.
stuff. But like here, like in America, that's not really the thing.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely. Volunteering to take pictures, and I'll be like, "Oh, silly picture," or I'll like say a pose, and sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. But
it was, and there was the story in like traditions that did it for me, where there was a service member with his family, and I may have said this story before, but it was a serviceman with his family, and he was going right before he was going to Iraq, and they it's typical. One parent takes all the photos, right? It was the dad. Dad was taking all the photos, but this one time, a cast member goes, "Hey, can I take your photo? That way you have the whole family." That's the last photo of the whole family before he passed away in Iraq. And so for me, I made it a point of going, everybody, this is their last family photo.
yeah, oh,
Because
wow.
you never know. And I was just like, it's the one photo that everyone keeps is because it's a Disney.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And so like that just stuck with me in the college program and on. Just help, because you never know with the photos. Because like I've got a million photos, but you're not in it. And
Yeah.
so that one, and like I think the mom or the wife like wrote like, "Hey, thank you, for doing this, like having a cast member, because this is the last photo we got."
Yeah.
And like it's just like it's the story of like
Right.
going beyond what you can for the
Yeah.
guests, and that's what set the Disney brand apart, and that's why it's hit so well on a resume.
Yeah.
Did we sell it, guys?
I think that's a great ending.
Did we sell the college program?
I think we did.
Yeah.
At first, I thought we were gonna be like, "Don't do it. It's
No.
evil. It's horrible."
I started off that way.
Yeah.
It sucks.
It's tough. It's hard. But you push through.
It's a job.
You get those good moments that like make it last.
Those
forever.
magical moments are awesome.
Yeah.
It's the adventure that you, in your 20s,
I
are
still-
seeking after.
I still have my.
Absolutely. It is a great adventure. If you want to go on an adventure, but you don't want to like backpack on your own
or do Peace Corps.
yeah,
Or yeah.
college program.
It's a great-
good one.
Find out what you want to do with your life, because I think it's
Sometimes.
sometimes, but like it's a good idea to find out who you are as a person.
Yeah, it finds out like what you may
You get outside
want
of
to do
your
or what you don't
bubble.
want to do.
I agree with both of you. Yeah.
You get outside of the bubble that you lived in and grew up in, and you're by yourself. You're around people you don't know, and you've got to either swim or drown, basically.
Yeah.
Either swim and you do well, or you drown and you go back home.
Yeah,
yeah. I
And
mean,
and a lot of people go back home.
it's true.
yeah.
And a lot
I
of
say
people
about
succeed in-
30%,
Mm-hmm.
and the college program go back. Either they're disgruntled or they don't have it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They can't make the cut.
Let us know if you've done the college program, or if you would, or if you wish you did the college program. If
And
you're
you're never
old.
too old to do it.
It's
you
true.
You just have to say you were in college at one point. You have to have some proof that you've.
Well,
you've
you have to
done-
be in
and-
college.
In college, like
now,
yeah, I think there's a certain period where
24 months. I saw. Yeah.
where you could do it. And like I said, you imagine having like a 60-year-old roommate, like, hey, we're gonna whoop it up tonight. Who's going to Magic Kingdom?
I mean, I
with
would
me?
love it.
We're going to Pleasure Island.
We're going to Pleasure Island. We're going to Motions or Mannequins. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, like this. Yeah, let us know, like, what, if you did do the college program, because when you meet other people who've done the college program, you guys have very similar stories, but they're always fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fun stories.
And so you can let us know on our social media, our Facebook, our Instagram, our Twitter. You can email us at matterhornyodlers@gmail.com. If you're listening on Spotify, you can let us know. If you just scroll down on Spotify, there's a little Q&A down below.
I do have one discrepancy with the college program. There was no Barrows there.
No Barrows
No
Pizza. Though.
No
Barrows.
Barrows pizza at there, so that is a negative side. It just hit me right now. I had to throw
Yeah.
that out there.
Our non-sponsor.
Non-sponsor by
Barrows.
Japheth. I like free pizza.
which we haven't gotten any
Still waiting.
Every episode we will sponsor them
until we get our free pizza.
and then once we get it, we'll continue to do it for more pizza.
Don't do it.
But that's all the time we have. Have a magical day.
Thank you for joining us on this week's episode of the Matterhorn Yodelers. Please remember before your bobsled comes to a complete stop to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And remember,
Remain seated, please. Permanecer sentados, por favor.